Some say I talk way too slow. Others say I sound like Jeremy Clarkson. And I've even been told I look like Jared Butler, but a fatter version. All I know is I have vibe. 3 of them to be precise. The review and tutorial I filmed on the GD-350 seemed to be popular as the vibe feature was something very useful. So then came the questions. What other G-Shocks have the vibe alert? And is there a solar G-Shock with vibe? I think I may have found the answers. So today I will review these 3 next to each other. The GD-350, which was released in 2006, the GW-400, which was released in 2005, and the G-7510, and that was released also in 2005. So firstly, CASIO, are you listening? Make it standard for all G-Shocks to have vibe, as the alarm tone is simply useless unless you're a bat that has sonar ears. So let's start off with the GW-400. And here it is, and let's have some side-by-side comparisons. As you can see, it is quite similar, and very obviously is the display. The display on the GW-400 is quite small compared to the GD-350. Thickness-wise, they're on about the same, and the lug to lug is also about the same. And I have to say, this wasn't easy to find, and it is sort of quite collectible as well. And this is in all original condition, bezel and strap. And note the strap has a very unusual sort of fingerprint design, and this is to keep it grippy to your wrist because its focus is very much with the water. And I will explain all the functions and all the little quirks it offers. But first I just thought just to show you around and some of the features that I've spotted. The bezel is quite deep, so the crystal is very well seated in there. It also has these 3 markings on this, or 3 gaps this side, and it has a chrome ring that completely covers the circumference of the bezel, and this is connected to the thermometer, so this can do air temperature as well as measure the water temperature, which is very, very cool indeed. And at the bottom we just have a G logo with some blank plastic tabs there. It's written shock resistant, and on the other side it has the vibration alarm there. So what do you get on this watch? Well, it is solar powered with the tough solar, and it also has wave scepter. Now this isn't multi-band 6, this is basically multi-band 2. It only can receive 2 signals around the world, and one of those is in Japan and the other is in the United States of America. Now I do have an app on my one of my phones where I can receive a signal, so I've adjusted this to Japan and it works. And there's a little receiving icon down here with the 3 bars. This is the equivalent to like L1, L2 and L3 most commonly seen on the modern G-Shocks. And then you have another bar here, and this is very, very small. This first bar here is the receiving signal, so once you've received, this will light up. And then you have 3 small segments, and this is for the battery, and at the moment this is on high. I must say that the display on this watch is very, very small, and it does pack a lot of information, so if you do have bad eyesight, this could be a little bit tricky to see. There is a very small sub dial here, and it does have a little red tint to the display in there, and this is just counting the seconds in the home time. And down here is another small display round circle, and this is your moon phase. And then up here you have this box here, and this at the moment this is covering the day and date, and there is the time. And you get some other little icons, whether it's in power saving mode or daylight saving time. There is a backlight, which is the button up here. It has a green tint. You can see that. And there is an option to turn this on for the auto light. Just a long press on the light button, and I like how it chirps, and at the bottom it has auto EL. And to turn this off, it's just a matter of a few more seconds, and it makes a beep. And on some G-Shocks you don't actually get a beep, so this is a nice feature there. And in the bottom button here, pressing this will tell you when you received your atomic signal, and the last time was on the 1st of May at that time. So just pressing that takes you back to the home screen. Now while in home screen, pressing button at the top here, button A, or the just button, you press it once, you have the temperature, and here it's written and it's in degrees. And you press again, and we will have a tide graph. Now this can take up to 45 seconds for some reason, but I think there is a reason, because the amount of data that it shows you is quite in depth, and it's using this graph here. So just going to wait out and show you what is shown. And here is the graph, and here is flashing the low tide side of it. So that would be your low tide, and that would be your high tide. Now it has a ×3, and this is down to the level of tide. So sometimes you have in certain weeks of the month you'll have a lower tide than normal, and when it's a ×3, this is meaning that it's going to be like a super tide, so it'll be much higher than average. But these little dots are very, very fine, so that is what to expect. Also, the moon phase is updated. There's one little segment in there. It's very, very fine. Maybe a bit of backlight can show that a little bit better. But we've just completed a new moon, so it is a full moon, should I say, and now it's creeping in for a new moon. And that is all the features you have on that side on the home screen. Now quickly just going through the mode button, pressing 1 will take you to the tide, and here you can fast forward the date, and also by pressing the adjust button you can swap from PM to AM. So even though this is in 24-hour mode or setting, I have it on, it will show you that. So I thought that was quite clear and understandable. So if it's PM, you can just change it to the next day, so that's tomorrow, and so on, and it will give you the moon graph as well, the tide graph and the moon as well, which is good to see. But it does take those sort of 30 to 45 seconds. I think 45 is the most. And while it's receiving the data, it is just flashing away here on the moon phase. So there is something there a little bit to think about, especially with if you want this information quickly to hand. I have no idea why really it takes so long. Personally, for me, I probably wouldn't have released such a watch with such a slow amount of data recall, but it does give you this here, so maybe because of this being so precise, and maybe that's why. And see, this has gone down to a ×2 on the graph now, so it's a medium tide. while in the tide mode, by pressing the adjust button for a few seconds, it will come up and flash with the date there, or the year, and using the mode button you can advance like so. You don't need to do it one day at a time, just to add, and then just press adjust and it comes back out. So moving on from the tide, going to the mode, you have a stopwatch. So you have a repeater stopwatch, so you can run it for however long you want to run it for. It's up to 60 minutes, and you can repeat it every, say, from 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes and 5 minutes. If you're familiar with this, you'll know what I'm talking about. So if I do go into adjust here, you can see you can adjust the timer itself, the main time, and there's the reset. So once it reaches the minute, it will reset again to another minute. Then you can have it on repeat, or you can have it on continuous. That is the option. So you can only time from 1 minute to 60 minutes, and that is the alarm function. Next is a 24-hour stopwatch, just simple start stop. Here is counting the hours. Pressing adjust will give you a split time. It's actually written SPL. Then you have the flashing icons. So there's your first time, there's your second time, and then you have reset. So from stopwatch, pressing the mode goes to world time. Here doesn't hold that many world times, but it holds enough. I think it's about sort of 30, 31 or so, and using this button down here you can scroll through those times. You can't go back, and by pressing the adjust button for a few seconds you can turn the daylight saving off, which is the icon there is just turned off. So I'll do it again, repeat it, a little chirp, and it's back on. It's advanced it for the summertime. There is no scrolling, it just comes up with the city code, and this will be the home time and this will be your world time. So maybe a little confusing because you think Hong Kong, that is the Hong Kong time and that is your home time. So odd how they've done that, but I guess with use you get used to these things. Then pressing the mode again, it is going to the alarm function. Already it's kicked off with the snooze. So let's just go back to the signal. So it has an hourly signal. Pressing adjust turns this on and off, and a very small little alarm bell icon appears there. And pressing adjust, it just turns it off. So you have the alarm 1. Pressing adjust turns the alarm. So that's what the icon looks like. Press and adjust turns it off. So alarm 1, alarm 2, alarm 3, and the snooze alarm. So there's 4 alarms, and when you turn the snooze on you have a little snooze icon there hiding under the moon phase. So all very small indeed. So from the alarm and signal takes you to this here, and this is basically the home screen, and there you just saw something scrolling past, and that's new key, and this is all to do with the tide side. So I'm just going to show you how this works. So long press on the adjust button takes me into the adjustment mode. So here you adjust to your home city, which is London, and pressing the mode, this will be the area you're closest to, and this is the information it uses to measure the tide and the moon phase. And new key is coming up, and this is based in an area called Cornwall, which is on the south of England. Here is the closest to me, so it's as accurate as it is down there, because where I am based here in London I have no seaside or tide. So I say this is very sort of focused on that sort of side where you need to know about surfing, maybe fishing, and the so on, boating as well. So from there, pushing the mode button, you just have those two options just for the home city and so on. So pressing adjust takes you into another setting. Now you have the beep, and here using this button here, down here, button D maybe I should call it, will take you to the vibe. So you either have beep or vibe, and when it's on vibe it actually comes up with VIB, and this is to tell you that it's in silent mode, so any notifications through the alarm, hourly signal, timer and that's it I think, will notify you using a vibration alert, and that's it. There's no backlight alert as like you get on the GD-350. And from there you can change the temperature. You can only choose Celsius, and you can only adjust, and well, basically this is where you calibrate the temperature. So if you're wanting Fahrenheit, unfortunately you don't get this option. Pressing the mode button again takes you to power saving mode and then back to vibe, so you just have those few options. Now pressing adjust again takes you to another adjustment option. You have daylight saving on, you can also have this off or on. That's all you have, there's no auto. Here you can adjust your main time to be 24 hours or 12 hours. Here you can adjust the seconds, and note you have a little indication up here of a little light. Well, here is where you adjust the length of the backlight every time you press it. So when it's on this one here, this will be full 3 seconds. Pressing the light button at the top here, it now reduces just to this little diamond, and this will be for 1.5 seconds. So that's kind of sort of interesting. And then pressing the mode will scroll through the hours, the minutes you can adjust, and all the adjustment is done through these two buttons here when you're in these in the sort of number adjustments. So you've got the year, you've got the month, you've got the day, back to daylight saving time again, and then press adjust is end of the adjustment. So it's quite involving with that, and I like it how it is separating all the little different segments. So maybe it's easier to follow that way, or you just like the one adjustment mode where you go through the whole lot. So what is the vibration like on this? Well, let's just go to timer and start the timer. So how do I test this? I basically will just rest it on the microphone once it goes off, and maybe I'll do a little comparison at the end and put them side by side to each other and do it one after the other, so it's much closer and you can identify the different tone or the different vibration. I'll just rest it on the speaker and it'll be some kind of indication anyway. Okay, just looking on the back case there, you can see how it is fixed, and they call it the G, and there is the module number there, 2981, if you're interested, and you can have a look yourself. This is a Japanese, it says Japan on the back, and I will take that as that was made completely in Japan. So that is the first one, and that is the solar powered with vibration. It was the only one that I found and could buy to show you guys, and not just show you a picture. But while looking, I came across another interesting one, and that is the G-7510. Now this is very interesting indeed, and again there isn't any available. I had to search and search, and eventually I managed to find one. Now this one originally was on a blue strap and it had a blue bezel like so, but I wasn't too keen on the blue, so I went for the black, and this is all original CASIO, including the strap. Because this has a little blue there, it matches the blue bezel. Normally that would be black. Also on the black version, or the black bezel version, where it says vibration alarm, this would be in red, and whereas it's in blue to match this bezel. But I'm going to keep everything original, but if you're following my channel, you know I do like to be black. Well, it matches the Batmobile anyway. So let's have a look at this, and this is a very simple on the eye watch. Very clean, very bold, nice clear display. If your eyesight isn't that great and you need glasses, this is a great watch. Now, comparing it next to the GD-350, you can see that the numbers are much bigger. Now, if I bring back the GW-400, you can see that the numbers are smaller on the time there. I'm just going to compare that next to this one as well, because we like to see them side by side. You see the difference? So it's quite a thick watch. The lug to lug size is about the same, so they all sort of basically that sort of same size. And you've taken a tumble, not to fear, you are a G-SHOCK, you can take it. So looking on here, we have two buttons on this side. These are nice grey ones, very easy to push, I must say. And here we have a center button there indicated there. So I'll say if that was black, it would be very discreet in there. This also has a button here. This is just for the light, which is always handy to have, and I am a big fan of the center light button there, much easier to find in the dark. So looking around on this strap, say the strap is brand new, and as it is on original, there's a nice little bit of G logo on there, and then on the top here it just has some these little bit of detail in there, and it's repeated on that side there. Got some nice chunky screws going through, and that is what you see. I mean, it is quite modern. I mean, this is quite an old watch considering, but it's still very up there with today's watches, I would say. And looking on the bezel, it has world time written on there. Again, it's all that water resistant of 200 meters. You have the day date up there, and you have a nice little window here, and it's blue, a little blue tint. And here you have, this is all to do with the alarm here and signal. Then you have three little bars up here. This is for information, which I'll come to. You have a little sub dial here. Again, it's counting the seconds like you saw on the GW-400, and I must say it's a little bit bigger on this version here. And then you have a nice bold time at the bottom there. It's all in 24 hours, and I'm going to press the backlight just to see. So you get a nice tint of green. Do it again like so. Now if I was to hold in the back button, there is no chirp, but you get a little indication up here. It says Auto EL, and just pressing it again for a few seconds. Make sure I am pushing it, and that turns it off. So that is very clear to see there. I do like on the other one that it does chirp. That is quite a nice feature. So here, pushing the top button up here, you can change it from 24 hours to AM PM, like so. Just give you an idea. Then you've got the forward button there. This doesn't do anything, but I will come back to that in a second. You have the center button there, Like to push, no, there's nothing happening on there. Press the adjust button, and again you have nothing. So you only have the light, and you're able to adjust the AM and PM, or 24 hours to PM and AM. But if you push the forward button here, long press, a good long press of a few seconds, the watch vibrated, and I've got vibration now written on there. So now everything works on quiet, stealthy mode. And then pressing the forward button just a few seconds, it turns it off. Now I do like this, where you can just quickly swap it to stealth mode, or if you want the tones to go on. So the first mode I'm going to push, you're going to be really excited by this, and it's very unexpected. It has a data bank, and here you can store up to 13 sort of names, codes, and telephone numbers, or however you want to use it. And the first one I've put up is Whoop69 for a bit of fun, and yes, it has scrolling. So if I went to number 29, it actually comes up and says it's free. Pressing adjust will give me the option. And I have some characters up here, and I can use the reverse and forward button to scroll through. So there's the characters, and then you have some numbers from till 0, and then you have your A, B, C, and this is all working backwards. So if I just had something like this, press mode, goes on to the next character. If I push down, it goes to the letter. Up, I can go to the character like so, and then you just scroll through until you hit the bottom, which is here, which is just 0 to 9. That's all you can select on there. So say I had a code I need to remember, and it's something like maybe like 98, like that. Say it's maybe a little padlock or something. Press adjust, and it is stored. So I can go back, and now it's 28 of 30. Go forward, that's the one I've just put in, and you have Whoop. Now I'm just going to show you, because out of curiosity you probably want to know. Pressing adjust by selecting one of the datas you have, by pressing the reverse and the forward, you can clear it, and it comes up with clear in that display, that little blue display here, and now it's ready to start over. Press adjust, and now it's gone back up to 29 available spaces. That is very, 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 very cool indeed. So moving on from mode goes to world time. It just come up briefly with WT in that little blue box there. And here you can go backwards and forwards because the light button is down here. You go Tokyo and go back to Bangkok. You can also, just pressing the button here, the center one, adjust the daylight saving. So just a long press, and it makes a little chirp, and it's down there. But another feature this can also do, if you press adjust, you can fine tune not only the hours but the minutes as well. So if you've got those places where it's got the half hour, here you can adjust it. That is really, really great feature. I've not seen that before. And then just pressing the adjust takes you back like so. Now pressing the mode from there takes you to the timer. Now the timer is just a 1 minute timer. It's basically the same what you saw on the GW-400 with the repeater. So if I press the adjust button there, you can adjust the minutes. That's all you can do. It's just 60 minutes, and there is the icon there. So that is a straight through alarm. Once the alarm finishes, then it goes into a counter mode, so it tells you how much longer is after the timer has gone off. Or you can have it on a loop, which basically just goes off. So I had it for 1 minute, it would go off every minute. So basically you could use this for training. It's a possibility. So that's your timer, that's your reset. If I didn't cover that quickly, that's your reset there, and then back through there. Okay, just to make sure that you see it correctly, like so. And that's just a simple start stop. Oh, start stop is in the center. I beg your pardon. Usually it's always this button here. The start stop is in the center. There we go. Start and stop. And adjust is on that side there. Just is at the top. Sorry. You know, G-SHOCK, you do mess around with the functions. So when you have a lot of G-SHOCKs, you sort of start pushing sort of like the same button. So that confused me. I wanted to start there, reset there, or reset there. But in this case, it is start there, stop, and the reset is there. So, okay, right, now it's in my system. I know what to do now. So next is the signal. So you have a signal there. You can just press the icon there, the button there, and the tiny little icon comes up here. But it's quite visible. You do see it quite, even though it's very small, because that's the only thing in this little box here. So pressing it again, it goes off, if you saw that. So scrolling through, you can go forwards or backwards on this. So you have alarm 1, alarm 2, alarm 3, and you have a snooze. So if I activated the snooze alarm, you see that both icons appear there, alarm and snooze. And then just press it, turns it off again. So I can go back, see, go back to alarm 1, I can go to 2. So that's quite handy to have. So from the alarm and signal, pressing the mode, goes to the stopwatch. And that start, stop, and then you push the forward button. So this is a 24-hour stopwatch. Press that, and now it's counting the seconds, 100 seconds. This is going berserk. Then you've got the minutes and you've got the hours. And to put it on to, I did push the right one, it was this button here, and you has split and the icons here. And I like how it has the 2 dots there opposed to the little tiny ones at the top, so at least it's more visible when you see it, so you know that's still running. So then you can stop it. That's your first time, that's your second time. Pressing it again will reset it, and then from stopwatch it goes back to the home time. That is really a great watch, and nice and clear, really clear to see. When I did receive this watch, I did wear it 3 days on the trot. It's just so pleasing on the eye. It doesn't I mean, it's not an aggressive looking G-SHOCK. It just has a nice sort of, it has a very sort of 90s sort of a period about it, but it also carries on into 2019 as well. So let's have a quick little look on the back so you can really get to see all the details. That's the inside of the strap. It has this sort of grippy sort of ridges on it, which is quite nice. And so let's have a look, and that's what you see on the back. So there's the module, is 2943, and this is made in Thailand, it says. So that's what you get. They all seem to have these like little additional parts here, so it keeps the form on your wrist. I'll say these buttons are very easy to use. They've even got a little bit of grip on there as well. Comparing it to the GW-400, these are very pushed in, but again, if this is more focused for sea or for maybe you're surfing or so, you don't want these knocked. And plus, because it's got a very smooth sort of bezel and side edges, it looks like it doesn't have buttons, whereas on this it's very bulky, and you can see that it has these sort of guards either side of the buttons. So G-SHOCKs are very much made to the environment they're sort of best suited, I think. and this being sort of like a sort of special operations watch, very, very stealthy. Everything has that sort of smoothness on the edge there, whereas this is really, really the most smoothest G-SHOCK I've ever seen. I mean, on first impression when I saw it, it's just nothing but a circular G-SHOCK, and then I thought the buttons in the picture were up here, and I thought something down here, maybe it's another button, but once it's in your hand you can actually get to see it. So they're the buttons. Are they easy to push? Yeah, you need to get your finger in there and give it a little push. Is it the easiest? Probably not, if I was to be honest, but hey, I like the quirkiness of it. Anyway, let's test the alarm on this one and put it against the speaker on my camera, and I shall also test the GD-350, and at the end of the video I shall put them one after each other and you just hear the difference. So for me this would also be quite experimental because this might not work out. I just found a very cool feature on this, what it can do, and while this is counting in timer mode and it's beeping away through all the modes, you can actually just press the forward button and you can actually switch it on vibration. You don't have to go through the sub menu. Right, it's vibrating now. Actually, that did feel a little bit more stronger than the GW-400. I'll tell you what I might do is actually put them all in my hand and set the alarm and just see which one I can feel has the more presence on the vibration. Maybe Mrs. Rangeman would be interested in that one. Anyway, I've set all the alarms to 1507 and they're pretty much sort of calibrated against each other with regards the main time, or the counting seconds. Now between them all, watch which one was the easiest to set the time. I have to say that this one here was the easiest. This was a little bit difficult with the buttons, or not say difficult, but just a little bit harder. And whereas this one, yeah, it was good. This one a little bit easier to use with the display, but then again this one has that one time daily or daily option, and I think the alarm will be going off soon. So once it does, I'll go, oh, here it goes. I have to say that the G-7510, this one here, had the more vibration, followed by the GD-350. And I'll say these two are very, very close. In fact, it might not be separated between them if someone else was testing them, but because I'm so geeky and anal about things and OCD, I can just feel that that had a little bit more of a vibration over this one. It's still excellent though. This one a little bit weaker, is noticeable, but it did still have that vibration. Whereas this one was really shaking like an earthquake, and but this is what I kept getting asked, and I'm hoping this is answering your question. Now this is only 3 G-SHOCKs that have the vibration. Remember, ProTrek have some models with vibration. Oh, just to point out, this isn't solar powered or multiband 6. I would have mentioned it if it did. This one is the solar vibe, this one is the data bank vibe, and this is your special corpse vibe. Which one do you like? For me, I think that's down to your choice. Anyway, that's the time, that's the vibe, and as always, thanks for watching. Wow, my fingers are all a bit tingly now with all that vibration. Mrs. Rangeman, yes, I have checked and I've set all 3 of these G-SHOCKs using their alarm. Yes, I've switched on vibration, Yes, and they're all on snooze. Okay, I shall pop them under your pillow, but hurry up, time is running out.